Hello, my name is Libby and I am a Hufflepuff reader. Welcome back to my channel. For my second video, I'm going to be talking about some of my favourite series of all time. Now these aren't in any particular order because let's be honest, I couldn't do that. But they're just a collection of a few of the ones that I love. Now we are going to start off with one of my favourite series as a child, and that is the Tracy Beaker series. So this is starring Tracy Beaker, which I believe is the second. There's the story of Tracy Beaker, this one, and then the Dare Game, and then there is the new My Mum Tracy Beaker books that Jacqueline Wilson released, I think maybe last year or the year before. These are really fun books. I really enjoy them. I really relate to the character of Tracy as a kid, always getting in trouble and having a really cheeky attitude. And these are just fun little reads for younger teens. I read these when I was about 11. And I've recently reread them as part of a project on children's literature I was doing for university, and I really enjoyed them again. Up next is my very old and battered copy of Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, which is of course from the Percy Jackson and the Olympians series. I first read these books in 2010, hence why they're so battered, and I have loved them ever since. It's always when I go back to pick up for a reread. I love the Greek gods, I love everything about them, and I always sort of wanted to be a demigod. I just did, it was great. These are great books. These are middle grade, so they're great for younger, but I know a lot of young adults and adults who love these books too. It's a shame about the films, but we don't talk about them. Next up is the only non-fiction series on this list, and that is Laughing at My Nightmare by Shane Burkall. It's a series of 3 books written by Shane Burkall, who is the owner of the Laughing at My Nightmare non-profit organisation. He also has a YouTube channel that is hilarious and would be amazing if you could check it out. Shane has SMA, and the books are about his life with SMA and his day-to-day experiences of what it's like. I really love these books. They are hilarious and also really informative in a not like a info dumpy kind of way, how if you'd look at like a medical journal you'd get the information. You learn a lot about the daily life and how positive he is, and I love Shane and I love his channel and I love Shane and Hannah, and they're great, and yeah, check them out. Next up are a classic YA trilogy, which is The Hunger Games. These are perfect in my opinion. They are the perfect type of YA dystopian. They have a really good message and a really good plot with a really well built world, and they have humour and romance, and I love the character of Katniss, and I love Finnick, and I love Peter. I'm so excited for the release of The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Is that what you call it? I don't know. Does anyone know? That is coming out later this month. Wishing it was about mags rather than snow, but we'll take what we can get. Highly recommend this series, of course, if you haven't read it already, which most people have. Definitely a 5-star read. Next up is a series which is a lot newer to me and one I found because of BookTube, and that is the Carry On series by Rainbow Rowell. I read Fangirl quite a few years ago and had no intention of picking this up until I heard Hannah from A Clockwork Reader talking about this book. She loved this book and said it was really funny, and so I had to pick it up and fell in love with the series, and I've recently finished Wayward Son, which I really enjoyed. These books are so light-hearted and so easy to read and fall in love with. I love the characters of Simon and Baz. They're just everything. Obviously it's an intentional play on the Harry Potter series, so obviously beware of that going into it, that it is a kind of satire on the Chosen One trope, but yeah, definitely check these ones out. Next up is another series I picked up because of BookTube, and another trilogy which I finished earlier this year, and that is the Scythe series. I can't express my love for these books. I flew through the first 2 in days, and then waited anxiously, like the rest of us did, for the 3rd one, and then flew through that as soon as I got my hands on it. These are phenomenal. The idea of the dystopian kind of utopia, dystopia, and the difference between them is explored so well, and Neil Shusterman's a genius. Next up is another one I see quite often on BookTube, and that is Vicious by V.E. Schwab. These books, so this and its partner Vengeful, are fabulous. The concept is incredible and kind of made me want to try and become an EO, but then really put me off trying to become an EO. The characters, I just love them. I love Victor, and I really like how Victoria Schwab built this world, and she is one of my favourite authors, and this book is wonderful. Next I have two books that I don't actually have on me. One is a graphic novel and the other one is a series I read on audiobook, and the graphic novel is Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. I love this series of graphic novels with all my heart. They're so just fluffy and nice and uplifting and enjoyable, and they bring so much attention to, you know, the LGBTQ plus community, and Nick and Charlie are just everything, and I highly recommend that people pick these graphic novels up. Next up is the series I read by audiobook, which is the Truly Devious Trilogy by Maureen Johnson, which I also recently completed this year. This is a murder mystery about a young girl who's really interested into true crime, and it's set in dual timelines, and it's wonderful. It's one that is talked quite a lot about on BookTube and loved, and it is definitely worth the hype. These books are great, absolute 5-star reads, and yes, audiobook for me was the best way to do it because I found myself able to really immerse myself in the characters and the plot. Finally, I am going to talk about the best book series of all time, which we all knew was coming, and that is Harry Potter. So this is the Hufflepuff edition of the Philosopher's Stone, which is beautiful. Look at the spread edges. Look at them. It's just a wonderful series. Filled me with so much nostalgia and childhood memories, and I am always constantly reading one through audiobook as I listen to the Stephen Fry audiobooks to fall asleep every single night. These books mean the world to me, and they're not perfect books as much as they are, but they have a lot of issues, plot holes and problems, but I think that makes them more real and reminds us that we're human, which was the entire point of the books. If you haven't read these already, first and foremost, what are you doing? But also definitely check them out, these are great. So that was the finished list of my favourite book series of all time. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a like, comment and subscribe if you did. And let me know in the comments some of your favourite book series, and if there's any I haven't read, I'll definitely check them out. Thanks for watching, bye!